doing? I hope every one of you, you're fine, you're good, and you've had a good day. Well, it's been so hot. It's been so hot today, like terribly hot today. Anyway, I want us to just, go straight down to what we're here to discuss. And today I have a very special guest. I have a special guest, guys. Yeah, and his name is Dr. Jude. Dr. Jude is one of the best consultants that I have worked with. Like, he's so humble, he's so excellent, he's exceptional. My goodness, Dr. Jude. And I am so happy that he agreed to this, to this live session, even though it was so last minute. Dr. Jude, thank you. And so shortly, we're going to talk about, medical practice in the UK and medical practice in Canada. Even though Dr. Jude is experienced in Canada, UK, and the United States, right? Okay, thank you. So we're just going to quickly talk about that. That's just to warm you guys up for my next session, which will be for doctors on how they can, migrate to the UK. So without wasting much of our time, let me just pin the topic, right? Medical practice. Come on. I'm just gonna put a topic of the discussion. Medical practice in the UK versus Canada. So my guest is happy, is ready to roll. So let's go, guys. So now I'm gonna send a request to him. Dr. Jude, introduce himself to you. Hello. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good evening.
Thank you for having me. It's been a crazy day. So as you know, I've been operating all day. I didn't think I was going to make it, but I rushed home in this crazy
so
heat and we're ready to go.
For
so
doing this with me. Oh my God, see all of your certificates.
Oh yeah,
wow.
I'm in my
Fantastic.
office at home. So you can see all the hard work is on the wall there.
So today, Dr. Jude, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna take much of your time. I just want people to, have an idea about what it looks like to work in Canada, what it looks like, medical practice looks like, the healthcare there, and in the UK. I know that you're quite experienced in this part, so that's why I brought you down here, and I'm so happy that you honored my invite, I'll say, even though you're very, very busy.
Well, thank you for having me, man. Honestly,
of course, I want you to.
So you want me to talk about what it's like working?
First, do a mini introduction of yourself.
Okay.
Who you are, what you do, everything, including your YouTube. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, okay. So I'm a consultant orthopedic surgeon in Southwest London. I specialize in trauma and all aspects of upper limb surgery, so shoulder, elbow, and a little bit of hand and wrist stuff. I trained in London, so I had done most of my practice in London, predominantly Guy's and St Thomas's, King's College, and the South East London hospitals. I graduated in the UK, but I also spent some time in the US. I did some rotations as part of my elective at Yale. So I spent some time at Yale before I graduated, did some orthopedic surgery there. That's how I got into orthopedics. And then when I got the taste of excellence, which was being at Yale in the US, I decided that I wanted to work in London, but I wanted to work at the best center. And I remember I didn't know what the best center was. So I literally typed into Google, which is the best hospital for orthopedics. And for some reason it said Guy's and St Thomas's, whether it is or isn't, I'm not really sure, but I had set my sights on that. So then I came to Guy's and St Thomas's, thankfully got my job there, and that's where I trained. And then when I finished training after 10 years, that's when I decided I wanted to go abroad. So I applied to jobs in Canada. So I then went to Toronto, University of Toronto, and I worked there in trauma. And I had expected that I may stay for a bit longer, but that was during the outbreak. That was during COVID. And so I was there for just over a year, and then that experience was cut short a little bit by COVID. I got in a great job in London and came back where I became a consultant. I met you, and the rest is history. That's where I work now. And also, yeah, so as well as the medical practice, a lot of people actually know me for what I do on social media. I create videos because I want to, like, very much like you, to share the journey, to encourage other people who perhaps weren't sure which avenue to go down, that it was possible, and to show that there are Black surgeons, there are people like yourself who are achieving great things, who have graduated from all over the world, that are doing well, progressing in their career. But also they look cool as well, you know. Like, I want my social media to, like you've seen my videos, I try and make, I'm not necessarily overselling the career that we're in, but I like to present it in a good light, make cool videos, inspire people, encourage people to come and join the medical profession, and we just make it fun. So yeah, so I've got YouTube, Instagram. I've also joined TikTok. I think we did a TikTok recently, didn't we, in the corridor in theatre, and yeah, so Dr. Jude
So
across
what's
all
your
platforms.
Dr. Jude? Same Dr.
Check it out.
Jude on your YouTube. Okay, so let me just put it here, that Dr. Jude on YouTube, because I know that what we're discussing, we might not be able to talk about everything, so they might still have to, you know, go to your YouTube and just check it out, right? So I know that I didn't. I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you, but did you at any point train in Nigeria? Someone mentioned something, said, "Let us speak in Nigerian language." So did you at any point train?
So no, I didn't personally train in Nigeria at all. I'm Nigerian. Okay. I'm what I call British Nigerian. So my parents literally came to UK to have me, and so the early, somebody said, Dr. G, speak slowly. Sorry, my early years was spent between Nigeria and UK, like back and forth regularly, but mainly for school in London and then holidays in Nigeria. So I didn't actually do any training there. And then, and even now, I probably shouldn't speak too much on it because this is work in progress, but myself and a few other Nigerian surgeons are trying to create a group that's going to hopefully practice between London and Nigeria, but we'll just see how it works. So yeah, watch this space. Yeah, don't worry. I will tell you, you will be working with us as well. Don't worry, I will tell you when it's off the ground. But yeah.
So I was medical practice in Canada. And why did you leave Canada completely? I mean, you could have settled down in Canada, right? Yeah.
Man, this is a long story. Listen, I will just quickly plug my YouTube, because if anybody's interested in my journey, I actually vlogged most of the journey, literally from when I got the job to me packing up my entire house, packing my family. My wife was pregnant as well, which is very crazy. We had a high-risk pregnancy. The doctor told us not to travel because it was high risk, but we traveled anyway. It was very scary. I also had my young daughter as well. So at that time, I just decided I wanted to travel. I wanted to go get a job somewhere else. And then I applied all over the world. And then maybe 4, 5, 6 months or so before I was due to start my new job, my wife came and told me she was pregnant. So I said, well, the job is there. I think we just go there. We have the baby in Canada, and the baby becomes Canadian, and we'll just make friends from there. So we went there, pregnant. My son was born in Canada, and we had no family. It was just us plus my young daughter. She was in nursery. My wife was not working, but I was doing fellowships. I was doing on-calls, night shifts. I was doing trauma. So even in the middle of the night, I'm getting called out to go into the hospital. So it was very busy, and I enjoyed it. But then COVID happened. And so after 1 year, it became very difficult because we lived in a really beautiful apartment in downtown, but it was a small apartment. And then when COVID happened, we then couldn't really go out. So we were stuck in the apartment with 2 babies, no family really. And so then the reason we came back was more of a personal decision rather than a professional decision. You know, after 1 year, I really enjoyed the job. But after, I don't know if there are the doctors, but they can tell you in the UK, we trained for so long. I trained for 10 years. And then to get a consultant job in Canada would have taken probably another couple of years of fellowships and networking and things, but networking was very difficult because of COVID. And I know a lot of people probably will understand that a lot of what we do isn't actually paper forms and score. It's actually about face-to-face meeting people, networking, making connections. You know, somebody introduces you, but that was very difficult during COVID. And so when I did, you know, I had great connections in London. I got a great job back at Guy's and St Thomas's. So I came back to London. That's when, you know, Mr. Gill, Ian Gill, at where we work, Kingston called me and offered me a job. So, and then came there. So I had a very good job in London, which is why I came back. But I would love to practice in Canada. It's a beautiful country.
Okay, so it wasn't like you were not pleased with the medical practice in Canada. It was lovely. So it was easy for you to integrate. As a, I mean, you studied in UK. It was easy to integrate into the system.
Yeah. It was quite easy. It was easier than I thought because, you know, medicine is very transferable. You know, the practice is the same. Sometimes some of the words are slightly different, but there's only one human body. It doesn't matter which language it is, there's one human body, right? And the drugs are the same, even though sometimes slightly different names. The procedures are the same. So actually, practicing was very easy, but there's a culture that's slightly different. That was a bit more difficult and challenging. You know, the first few months, I remember I just had to observe and see the way people talk and interact. But Canadian people in general are very nice people. So it was they were very like accommodating. Canadian people are very like outdoor, you know, they like to be doing things, whereas on, Canadian people, they're always outside doing something. So, you know, it's a fun country to grow up in. It's a very safe country to have children and raise family and stuff. So if you're thinking about settling somewhere, you know, they don't have the same crime that we have in the UK. They don't have the guns that they have in the US. They don't have the same police brutality that they have in the US. So for me, it's a very beautiful country that one could feel like relaxed, enjoy a job. And also doctors and nurses get very well paid as well.
Okay.
Compared to US.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, compared to UK.
What are the opportunities, you know, available for internationally qualified medics in Canada?
Yeah, so this is a good question, and I have to be honest, I'm not an expert. So because I shared my journey on Instagram and YouTube and stuff, almost every day people ask me questions about their own personal circumstance and how they can get in. I don't know everything. All I know is how I did it, that my experience, and I know that one of the avenues in, and probably the easiest and for many people the only avenue to become a doctor in Canada is to train somewhere, like in the US or in the UK. Get your certificate of completion, which we call CCT, so you're fully trained now, and then apply to do a fellowship, because there are lots of fellowship programs in Canada which are open to international doctors. So actually, even when I was there, we had a huge fellowship program. Majority of them were Canadian or US, but some from UK, some from Africa, some from India. They were literally all over the world. So the easiest way is to train somewhere, get your completion, and then apply for a fellowship. Once you're fellowship trained in Canada, then it's what I talked about before. Then it's really about networking, connecting with people, meeting people, trying to find the right job for you. So that is the way that I was planning to do it. I think the other way is to do a Canadian residency program. So from medical school, you apply to train in Canada, but that's very, very difficult because the majority of the jobs are
really like that
for Canadian. So if you're not Canadian, it's very difficult to get a job there.
So what can you say about, you know, medical practice in UK? You know, you've had a taste of Canada. So what can you say? What are the major differences in the UK and Canada? I think that will make it easier for you.
Medical practice obviously varies. It completely depends on what you do. Yeah, so I'm a surgeon, and surgeons tend to be like quite high-strung, hardworking, committed, dedicated people compared to like, don't want to offend anybody, compared to maybe like if you worked in general practice or psychiatry or something, the practice is a little bit more slower paced. So I would say in the UK, we start later, which is good. You know, like in US or Canada, you have to be latest at work by 7.
Wow.
And the residents, latest 7, yeah? The residents, they start like between 5:30. And I remember when I was doing my internship in the US, I had to be on the ward at 5:30 to do a pre-round. And then about 6:30, maybe round with the residents. And then by 7 we had our trauma meeting. So your day started really early. Whereas in the UK, my day generally starts around 8 or 8:30. So I would say, and again, same for most of the residents. So having that gives you a better, I think, quality of life if you don't have to be at work by 5:30. But also, we work later. So in Canada, we finish by 4. In the UK, we're still there sometimes, trying to finish the last case at 6:30. But then we get a lot of time off. So I think that I would say overall the practice in the UK is a little bit more conducive to having a quality of life. You have a better quality of life, I think, than in the US and maybe even Canada, just because we have more time off. We start a bit later. I think we're less stressed. But the biggest difference, I would say, this is, I don't know, everybody wants to talk about money, so we should talk about money. Yeah, we don't work for free as much as we love it, but I would say the biggest difference is that doctors in the UK are not very well paid comparatively to US or UK. Yeah, so if you're a doctor, even a nurse in the US, you're going to be relatively well paid. I think a lot of people wouldn't believe my salary if I told you the salary. They wouldn't believe me because in the US, nurses are earning more than that. Physiotherapists, special allied health professionals earn
You
more
guys
than
get paid
what surgeons paid here.
£100,000 per annum.
So
Come on.
no, we don't. Well, you get, first of all, I would tell you, you will earn £100,000 as a consultant in year 7 or 8, maybe later than that. So after you've been a consultant for 8-9 years, your salary goes up to £100,000. But believe me, £100,000 in the cost of living isn't a lot compared to all the training. Look at all the degrees that I've had to pay for myself. Yeah, so by the time you finish paying off all your loans, £100,000 is not a lot of money compared to what your colleagues are earning in the US, which is like 5 times, maybe that, 5 or 5 times that. So sometimes when you say that to the general public, they'll say, hold on a second, you earn £100,000, why are you complaining? But that's above average. But there are so many other professions that you can do instead of medicine that will pay you £100,000 when you're 25, not when you've trained for 15 years, and not when you've accumulated a lot of debt in school and a lot of stress and grey hairs. Look at this. Yeah. So, I don't think that the financial remuneration in the UK necessarily reflects all the work and years that we put in. But as I say, the caveat to that is if you want to earn money as a surgeon, you can. So that's where private practice comes in, medical legal practice, consulting, academia, education, teaching. So a lot of surgeons actually do supplement their income by doing those things.
And how is it being a surgeon in the UK? Does it give you time for your family? Do you have time for your family? You guys are always at work.
I mean, yeah, I think so. Look at my YouTube channel. People ask me, how do I have time to edit YouTube? If you look at my channel, every single video, on that channel, I wrote, shot, edited myself. Sometimes my friends say, oh, do you have a team? I don't have a team. I did everything myself.
For something
as well as working
social
as a
media,
surgeon.
editing. Did you do any course like that? Because your editing is so perfect. My God. If I have that kind of skill, I'll just quit nursing.
Well, listen, really? Well, listen, I really enjoyed it. So I spent a long time teaching myself. I remember watching YouTube videos, literally have my notebook out, I'm writing down ideas. And this is before video was popular on Instagram. Now it's only video, but before there was very little video on Instagram. So that's why I was on YouTube, because I was creating all my videos on YouTube, and Instagram was just about sharing photos. And I just studied. I taught myself on YouTube. There's some great Skillshare courses now. I didn't really do any of them, but if you're interested, Skillshare is a great platform. If you click the link in my bio, there's a link to sign up. There's some great lectures on there if you're interested in getting better.
But they're not free,
that would be my resource. But Skillshare, I think, gives you like 1 month for free or something. You could do all the courses then. YouTube is obviously completely free. It's a little bit more all over the place, but there's some great lectures. I love photography. One day if you're free, I'll show you. Like, I have all my camera gear. Most of it I don't use anymore because I don't get much time. But my hope is to make media a part of my practice. We want to make share what we're doing, share the journey. So have like professional editing. I'm in the process at the moment of maybe expanding and getting a team, because as you said, I'm not really creating as much as I used to because I
How
don't
do
have the
you
time
do it?
now.
A lot of people have this fear that, oh, social media, you're a professional. When you use too much social media, it makes you unprofessional. It makes you this. Are you breaking any rules for being a social?
No, you're very right, because we haven't fully embraced social media in the UK, and a lot of people, they've still frowned on it. Even my colleagues. So I actually didn't really fully start exposing myself on social media till I finished training, because I was worried that my trainers were going to look upon me as if I was some joker. I didn't care about surgery. And then even as a consultant, I think that some people look at you as though you're only doing this so that you can promote your personal profile, so that you can basically build a big private practice, which actually is completely not true at all. I do it because first of all, I really enjoy creating video and like cinematic style. Hopefully you might see some documentaries from me just as a hobby. I've written a couple of documentaries. I just do it as a hobby and I enjoy it. And like you, it opens up a world to other people who otherwise might not get to see or learn certain things. So I just share my journey and teach people along the way. And I'll keep doing it. Yeah, there's a lot of negativity. You'll see you won't see many consultants in the break like me and you who will go outside and shoot TikTok videos. Like, I don't mind. We go shoot some TikTok, we'll shoot Instagram reels, whatever, because that's the world that we live in. People want to see behind the scenes. So I've embraced it, but
So if
hopefully it
you
will
could
change
go
and other
back
people will.
in time, Dr. Jude, like if you could go back to everything, what would you have done differently, or what would you have wished that you could have done more perfectly or something? Anything. It could be anything, maybe medical, your medical career, whatever.
I would say my medical career has been an absolute dream. I've been really, really, I want to say slightly lucky, but I've been hardworking and really went after my dreams, because initially when I told people that I wanted to become a surgeon, and not just I wanted to become an orthopedic surgeon in London. At the time, I didn't know any black surgeons, let alone in London. And so I think that the one thing I would not change, first of all, is I would definitely go for what I want. A lot of people tried to put me off and told me it was going to be difficult. And the honest truth is, it wasn't that difficult. As long as you know what you want and you're focused. So I wouldn't change that. But one thing I probably would change, and I think, is that I probably would invest money earlier. I think that's very important. I don't know if you talk much about that. I talk a little bit about money on my channel, because I think it's really important in the UK, especially now with cost of living, that young professionals are savvy with money, right? So you should be investing a portion of your salary, at least 20%. I think you should be investing. So I would have started investing in the stock market on day one. Literally, my first paycheck, I would have invested as much as I can, because then you will reap the benefits later. And that's it. I think I would do the same thing. I would embrace media.
Interesting. Okay. So what's your final message for my viewers? Because I'm trying to round this up now. I want every other person to go back to your YouTube channel, and then they can learn your journey from Canada to the US, the UK, and they can take their time and then maybe ask you questions if they have any on your channel. So that's why I wanted to just keep this short as possible.
Yeah, please ask me questions. I've shared my journey on YouTube. I think the message that I share through YouTube and Instagram is simple, and I think I just share the power of having overwhelming belief in yourself. Yeah, like Kanye West level belief in yourself, because that will honestly make you feel invincible. If you really focus on what you want to do, it doesn't matter if you are in a village somewhere in remote part of Africa, but you decide, listen, I want to become an orthopedic surgeon in London, you can do it. If you have that conviction, and you can find a way. Obviously, everybody's circumstances are different, but I would say that be realistic, but make a goal and just go for it. Don't let people put you off, because people will keep telling you, oh, this is too difficult, that's too difficult, that's too expensive, or maybe you should just settle for this. I would say just go for what it is that you want wholeheartedly. Ignore people who doubt you. Find people who will support you, encourage you. Find mentors. Find people who ahead of you have done it, such as yourself. Ask them questions, engage, and just surround yourself with people who are doing positive things, and they will.
Amazing. Thank you so much. You've given so much value in such a short period, and I love it. Thank you so much for taking out your time to do this. And I hope that everyone has picked something. His YouTube channel is simply Dr. Jude. So you can go back to his channel and learn more about his journey. If we decide to really talk about this topic, we're not going to leave here today. We just keep talking and talking and talking. Let me see. I doubt if we have any question. If anyone, I don't think we have any question because I didn't announce that people should drop their questions. Let me see if there's anything on the screen. So someone said that, what advice do you have for people who are about to start medical meds in the current social or financial climate, when many doctors seem so disenfranchised? I'm just finishing my PhD and I'm about to start, grad entry med.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, that's a good question. I think that, it's a difficult time to be a doctor because the rest of the world seem to have been working from home for the last 2 years. I know lots of people who have quit their job because they want to go and find themselves and do something that they love. I know equally people who are working from home and earning twice as much as they did before. And the only people who have worked solidly, non-stop on the front door has been doctors and nurses and healthcare professionals. So if you speak to most doctors, many of us are exhausted, many of us are disenfranchised, many of us feel that we're not even financially remunerated enough to account for all the work that we're doing and the sacrifice that we're making. So the only thing that can really make all of that worth it, I think, is if you genuinely find something in healthcare that inspires you, that you would almost do for free. Obviously you wouldn't do it for free, but something that you enjoy. And so for me, I genuinely enjoy doing orthopedic surgery. I love operating. You've seen when we're operating, when we're helping patients. I love interacting with patients' families. I love my staff, my team. We play music. We crack jokes. I absolutely love doing work. So, so I think that if you find a specialty that, and I think you have to be honest with yourself. A lot of people will pick specialties. I think this happens more in the US because how much they earn completely varies, but people pick specialties because of how much money they think they can earn, how much respect they think they're going to get maybe, and they're not necessarily happy in that specialty. So my advice is to really do your research, go and do some tasters, get some experience, and just be honest with yourself. Think about your personality and find something that you love doing.
Thank you.
And then
that
hopefully you won't burn out.
And this question is, let me see if it's going to pop up. How can an IMG migrate? Do you know what immigrant is that? What's IMG?
IMG, yeah. International medical graduate.
Migrate to Canada to practice medicine. So, what would you suggest? Sorry, before you continue, guys, if you have any questions, I only have less than 8 minutes to take questions, okay? I want to finish this up at 19:10. So if you have any question, pop it into the question section. So if you're using your phone, at the right bottom corner of your phone, you will see an icon, the third icon, the question mark. Please drop your questions and it makes it easier for me to respond to it. Thank you, guys. So yeah, go ahead, Dr. George.
She said, how can an IMG migrate to Canada? The first thing I'll say is it's very difficult because it's just challenging. I think the easiest way is to do a fellowship, is to get onto a fellowship program in Canada, because that will get your foot in the door. And once you're on the ground in Canada working, you then can network. You don't necessarily have to do the exams if you're going to work in a university hospital. So that is one avenue. You may have to do the licensing exams if you want to work in the community. But I would say the easiest avenue, I think, is to train somewhere. Doesn't matter where. Train, get your certificate of completion in your specialty, and then apply for fellowships. So I know, actually, as I said, I knew lots of doctors from all over the world in Canada. I had a friend who was an anaesthetist from Brazil, and she did the fellowship program. She loved it. She extended for 1 year while she wrote the exams, and I haven't seen her since, but I'm sure she's still there. So that's probably the easiest way, I would say, is to try and get into a fellowship program, because you won't get a job as a consultant just off the bat. There's a lot of nepotism, as I said. A lot of it is on networking, meeting people, being connected, being introduced, and that kind of thing. You can only do that if you're on the ground. You can't apply from overseas. It's just very challenging.
To answer your question, why did you settle in the UK despite the better salary in the US and Canada?
Well, this is a good question. As I well, we mentioned it, but for me, it was more personal. It wasn't the money, and it wasn't the job. Like I think I would love practicing in the US. I mean, sorry, in Canada. For me, US was a non-starter. I always had my hopes of going to the US, but I think when Donald Trump became president, that just completely ended it for me. I think the social climate in the US, and I don't want to offend anybody, but for me, I wasn't at peace. You know, I've got a black son, and Donald Trump made it very clear that he didn't care about non-white US residents, and the police brutality, the gun crime. It was just too worrying for me, you know, to raise kids in the US. So I decided that Canada was going to be a better option. But then eventually I ended up leaving Canada because, again, personal reasons. That was mainly because of COVID, and had a young baby, and we just had all of our family in London. And then I got a great job back in London, so I was tempted. I came back, but yeah, that's it. Personal circumstances. I go where the opportunities are at the moment. You know, I'm loving where I am, but if opportunity comes up in Canada, you never know.
The last question before we go, okay, with your medical listing. And hey, this is for medical people. I'm sorry. You said, can UK trained nurse work in Canada? I don't know if you have an answer to that question, but this is ethics actually.
I mean, you know, nursing is very different, isn't it? Probably, I would say, because you know the thing about Canada is there are a lot of British people there, a lot of British people, and I think that one of the reasons is that for the last few years, Canada has been really opening itself up to immigration and almost advertising. You probably on the tube and you'll see adverts to, if you're a professional, come to Canada. A little bit like Dubai, you know, Dubai was really opened up to immigrants, and Canada the same. They were just really wanted young professionals. So when I went there, so many British people, a lot in the financial sector. I'm just trying to think if I knew any British nurses. I don't think I met any British nurses, but you know, I don't know the answer, but I wouldn't be surprised if you could. There'll be an avenue, I'm sure.
This is the last question, Dr. Duke. What do you feel are the negative or restrictive aspects of medicine from a professional standpoint?
The restrictive aspects of it. Well, it's a lifestyle. Your life completely restricted because you are a slave to your rota, and I say that in a slightly sarcastic way because, for example, there aren't many jobs where if you make a mistake, somebody dies or somebody is permanently injured. Yeah, there aren't many jobs where if you make a mistake, you go to jail. Yeah, so there are lots of surgeons around the world in jail because they made mistakes. They killed people, not intentionally. Nobody wakes up and says, "Oh, I want to harm somebody." Yeah, so the pressure, there's a lot of pressure on you. Even when you're doing mundane routine surgery, it could go wrong and somebody dies, or somebody could die and it wasn't even your fault. Like David Shelley, I don't know if everyone knows that case. He's a black surgeon who, somebody died on his fault. It wasn't his fault. He went to jail. So I would say one of that, you know, that's always quite a scary prospect as a surgeon, and so we always live with that pressure. Also, like, you know, if there's a party like Thursday and I'm operating on Friday, you can't really relax and be yourself. Other people who work in an office, they can enjoy themselves and relax, and sometimes, you know, we're just like, I have to go home. I'm operating in the morning. So it is your life. It becomes your life, and it just becomes a way of working. And if you find that too difficult, then it's probably not necessarily the job for you. It's like, I guess, being a pilot. You know, you can't be out partying and drinking the night before you're supposed to be flying to the big plane to Africa. So
thank you so much, Dr. Jude. I think we've come to the end of our session. And once again, if you want to learn more about, you know, pathways, you know, going to Canada, our medical practices in Canada, in the US, UK, and all of that encouragement and motivation, follow Dr. Jude on Instagram. Yeah. And also on YouTube, it's still the same Dr. Jude. It's even on TikTok. Follow him on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm doing TikTok.
Get inspired, and you know, maybe based on your questions, you might even get to start reading up about migration. All right, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
I recommend it. Okay, we'll do this again soon. I'm going to interview you this time. I'm going to interview you on how to blow up on Instagram for nurses. You know, everyone's talking about you. You know, everyone's saying that I mean, have you seen Blessing on Instagram? She's doing so well. Alfreda, she said that you are a little celebrity.
Thank
So
you so much, Dr. Jude.
keep going, keep going.
Such an encouragement. Your energy is top. I love it. Do enjoy the rest of your evening, okay? Thank you. Bye. Cheers. Yeah, bye.
Thank you. You too. We'll speak soon. Bye-bye.
So guys, we've come to the end of the session here, and this was just for medical people, and that's why I did not really interrupt. So if you want more information about this, all you need to do is go to Dr. Jude's YouTube, or follow him on Instagram, and you can learn more, get encouraged, get motivated. You can do whatever, anything you set your mind to do. Trust me, guys, you can do it, and even more. It's just all based on, you being focused and, just set your mind to it and you can achieve it. I'm going to see you guys next time. And if you missed the session, don't worry. I'm going to save it and you can watch it later, okay? Don't forget, it's Dr. Jude on Instagram, Dr. Jude on YouTube. God bless you. Bye, darlings. Thank you so much for all of the encouragement. Bye. Jumi, let me give you a shout out. Okay, I've been seeing you. I was seeing you with one eye. You were distracting me. You were distracting me. But it's okay. Good night, guys. Take care. Bye. Cheers.